World Champions, and they will be the World Champions until this evening. They are, for the 9th time in a row, in top 4 at this tournament. The lineup of Stanley Cup champions, World Champions, #1 NHL draft picks. Ladies.
Here we go again.
Canada, come on.
Number 80, Pierre-Monique Dubois. Number 91, John Tavares. And number 98, Connor Penalties. Head coach of Team Canada is Mr. Andre Durini. The assistant coaches, Dean Allenson and Jay Woodcroft. Team Sweden! Goalkeepers, number 33, Samuel Ersson. And number 35, Philip Gustafsson. First line, number 72, Tim Head. Number 77, Victor Hedman. Number 9, Adrian Kempe. Number 14, Joel Eriksson Eck. And number 90, Marcus Johansson. Second line, number 28, Marcus Pettersson. Number 65, Erik Karlsson. Number 23, Lucas Raymond. 25, Andrei Burakovsky. Third line, number 25, Jonas Brodin. Number 26, Rasmus Dahlin. Number 37, Isak Lundeström. Number 49, Fabian Zetterlund. And number 71, Victor Olofsson. Fourth line, number 32, Lucas Bengtsson. Number 19, Marco. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Team Sweden! And now, show your appreciation to Team Canada!
Team Canada's back in black for this bronze medal showdown with Sweden. Both these teams coming off their first loss of the tournament yesterday in the semifinals. They're the two highest scoring teams in this World Championship. They'll play not for gold, but for bronze today. The Swedes looking for their first medal since 2018 when they won their second of two straight gold medals. Canada looking to win a medal for the fifth consecutive year. The officials for this game today, the referees are Mikko Kakakori of Finland, Sean McFarland of the United States. The linesmen both from Czechia, Daniel Hinek and Yuri Ondrachek. And the challenge for the coaches here is to get their teams back up today after the disappointing losses yesterday. The Swedes dominated through their first 8 games of the tournament, but tripped up by the Czechs yesterday by a score of 7-3. And Andre Tournier's team beaten in a shootout by the Swiss in their semifinal matchup. Often called the most difficult game to play in the tournament, but at the end of the day, the team that wins this game probably happier than the team that loses the later game and gets a silver medal. Starting in goal for the Swedes, Philip Gustafsson, who was pulled in the second period yesterday, gave up 5 goals on 17 shots to the Czechs. It was a stunning turn of events. for the Swedes, who allowed 3 goals in under 3 minutes in the second period. Jordan Binnington back in goal for Canada. He is 6-0-1, his first defeat yesterday. He allowed 2 goals on 30 shots in regulation and overtime against the Swiss. Sweden, as the home team, has the last change. 2 years ago today in the quarterfinals, Canada came back from 3-0 down and beat the Swedes in overtime. And Rasmus Dahlin threads that pass ahead. It's hard to put into words just how shocking that result was for the Swedes yesterday. That lead pass missed Froden. They had not allowed a first period goal. They had not allowed more than 2 goals in a game. They had not trailed in a game. And all those things happened against the Czechs.
It's not so much that Sweden lost. I mean, that was a possibility. But how they did it, giving up the chances, giving up the goals, the goaltending coming apart with both Gustafsson and Ersson having to play, it was, much to the light of the home crowd, a stunner.
Now back at the point, here's Bowen. Byram a shot, it bounces off Carl Grundstrom. That's knocked away. Grundstrom, one of 22 players in this game who's facing at least one NHL teammate. Severson, up ahead for Dubois, who chips that down. Now played back around. There's bumped back up by Marcus Pettersson. In comes Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg tied up there as Brandon Hagel goes back to pick it up. And here is John Tavares. Brought out of the corner by Lucas Raymond. And the young Detroit star feeds that back at the point for Pettersson. Back across he goes to Erik Karlsson. A long shot that goes off the leg of Holmberg in front. Bounces back to Hagel. Lead pass for Dubois skipped away. And both teams will change. Later tonight, Switzerland against Czechia. Swiss looking for their first ever gold medal at the World Championship. The Czechs looking for their first since 2010 and their first on home ice since 1985 when they were Czechoslovakia. That's gloved down by Colton Parayko. Swings that back down to the Swedish zone. Michael Bunting on the forecheck, and Owen Power knocks that down. Power looks down to Mangiapane for Bunting. Michael Bunting feeds that back to Parayko. And Colton Parayko back with it. Back at the point, it goes to Power. And Power's long shot drifts wide. Picked up by Mangiapane, the MVP of the 2021 World Championship. Parayko a shot, save made by Gustafsson. And Pettersson throws that ahead. Knocked down by Dylan Gunther. Lead pass for Nick Paul. In comes Paul with it. Trying to drop that back. It's picked off by Marcus Johansson. Victor Hedman banks that ahead. The star-studded defense for the Swedes goes back to work as Johansson takes a long shot off the end boards. Binnington a good stop there as Isak Lundström was coming in.
So there's 2 parts that make this game difficult for both teams, right? There's the physical turnaround of a game for Canada that ended at 9 o'clock, 9:30. If I got out of here by 11, they got to turn around for a 3 p.m. local start. That's it. And then there's the mental emotional, which is probably harder to gear up, as you referenced, to play in this game. Because later in the summer, later next year, this game will matter a lot. How you did it, you'll care about.
And you speak from first-hand experience.
Yeah.
In comes Paul, drops it down. A sharp angle shot taken there by McCann. Now knocked down by Gunther. Canada lost the last bronze medal game it played in 2018 and has lost 4 straight overall. In 99, 2000, 06, and 18. Hedman up into Lundström. The Swedes had not been to the semifinals since their 2018 gold medal win until this year. Victor Olofsson back with it. And Whitney Gregg back in the Canadian lineup plays that across. Caden Gooley is out for Canada today. So Canada has 14 forwards and 6 defensemen dressed as Gregg goes after out there with Bedard and Brandon Tanev. He trying to pull that free. Now Tanev knocked down Linus Johansson. Who's behind the goal? Bedard fed that back in front, just missed Tanev with it. And now Byram plays it back in deep. Brodin being watched by Greg. And Tanev back after. Tanev named one of Canada's top 3 players in the tournament by the management group after the game yesterday.
It was a pretty nice honor for Brandon Tanev. You thought would have been sort of a support role player, energy guy, which he's been, but he's also scored some goals. Nice recognition from Canada's management.
Marcus Pettersson's lead pass for Holmberg. He fell. Centering pass for Dubois, but he is pocketed picked there by Raymond. And Raymond goes ahead to Burakovsky, but it's knocked down by Damon Severson. Through the middle for John Tavares, the Team Canada captain. Tavares winds in, it bounces off his stick, and Erik Karlsson plays it back to center ice. Parayko missed Dubois with that pass, and icing called against Canada.
Owen Power was a bit of a surprise penalty shot taker last night, but Gord, you quickly ran the numbers and realized he actually had one of the higher penalty shot percentages amongst Canadian players. So Tuoni went with 2 defensemen, in Severson and Power, both who had career good numbers. And always when they don't score, it's open to second guessing. Right. You play the percentages.
Now Karlsson, a long shot that goes wide. Picked back up by Hedman. And Power back with it, chips that back around. And Adrian Kempe. He had a goal post late in the first period with the game tied at 2 against the Czechs. With a turning point in the game, the Czechs blew it open in the second period with those 3 quick goals. As Tavares plays that back for Dubois. And Pierre-Luc Dubois lobs that down. Gustafsson shovels it down for Hedman. Victor Hedman just finished his 15th NHL season. A Norris Trophy winner as the top defenseman in the NHL. A Conn Smythe Trophy winner as the playoff MVP. Zetterlund plays out rink wide for Olofsson. He, like a lot of these Swedes, will have high hopes for best on best international hockey ahead, especially the Olympics in 2026. And the argument that shouldn't be icing.
The Swedish player actually shot it down, trying to ring it to the point.
And they made a mistake, so the faceoff will be at center ice.
And Dylan Cousins, the tournament goal scoring leader.
You see Brady Tkachuk on their time for second. Matt Moldy of the U.S. is still the tournament point leader.
The Americans piled up a lot of goals in their round robin play for falling in a shutout to Czechia in the quarterfinals.
He drops that down for Jonas Brodin. That's knocked down the line by Alexiuk. Pass it to Bunting, was knocked away from Dylan Cousins. Dahlin, lead pass for his Buffalo teammate Olofsson. Now Dahlin comes back in. That's just Dahlin, a monster year for Buffalo this year. Back down to Zetterlund, scored 20 goals as a defenseman for the Sabres. Now Bunting knocks that free and throws that wink right. A race for it now as Mangiapane gets back on Dahlin and negates the icing call. Picked up by Mangiapane, throws that back in the slot, knocked back by Olofsson. And Dahlin plays it back to center. 4 first overall picks playing in this game. 3 for Canada, Dahlin for Sweden. Bedard, Tavares, and Power are the first overalls for Canada. And Macklin Celebrini, the presumptive first overall pick. The upcoming draft was actually on the Canadian provisional roster for the start of the tournament, where they got some players late like Dubois, Tavares, and others. Macklin Celebrini and Adam Fantilli gave up their spots. Erik Karlsson slaps that in for Pontus Holmberg. And Holmberg has to ring that back around. Bouncing puck guys up by Tanev, and now Gunther tries to poke it free. And over the head of Tim Heaton, but 4 years in the NHL with San Jose.
Just about Tim Heed, the other defenseman on the star-studded veteran NHL group, and he's got to be out there like, okay, I got to feel like I'm as good as everybody else out here.
Karlsson, Hedman, Dahlin, and Brodin.
He's partnered up with Victor Hedman. So.
Now Kempe falls at center ice, and Eriksson Ek had that roll away from him as Byram spins back for Canada. Got to think that Linus Ullmark, Jacob Markstrom have the inside track on the goaltending spot for a Swedish Olympic team as Hagel moves in and shoots and ticked that off the outside of the post. Now McBain back on it, drops that back. The pass skipped away from Parayko. Sweden have a very good team in Italy at the Olympics. As Tavares takes that pass ahead. Gold medalist in 2006 in Torino. That's played back by Hagel. The bouncing puck goes back to Power. Power, long pass down to Hagel. Takes that away from Linus Johansson. Now Tavares comes after it. Away comes Tavares. Winds in, throws it back in front. Parayko had jumped up and the pass just missed him. Parayko back on it, plays it in deep. And the bouncing puck poked ahead again by Tavares. And here is Hedman with it. Plays it ahead for Froden. And Grunzer plays it back to Jesper Froden. Froden played a couple years in the NHL for Boston and Seattle. Standing in front now. That shot by Karlsson goes off a skate and off the outside of the goal frame. Hagel throws that rink wide for Dubois. The pass skipped away. And it's picked up by Marcus Pettersson. Olofsson pivots back. Drops that back to Lundestrom. Long shot by Pettersson in the midsection of Bennington. He knocked that down. And away comes Olen Zellweger with it. Zellweger, the 20-year-old defenseman from the Anaheim Ducks, drops that back to Craig, but the play's offside at the Swedish line. No score here in the opening period of the bronze medal game in Prague.
The IIHF Hall of Fame have new inductees, and I think that now it's current time. The gender match.
Back here in Prague, the final day of the 2024 World Championship, which will break, has already broken the attendance record set here in 2015. Here today, the IHF Hall of Fame ceremony. 8 players and builders inducted, including Jaromir Jagr, the headliner in that class.
He's going to fixture all 2 weeks here, in and out of the Czechia games.
He remains an iconic figure here in 2015. His last game with the national team was spine-tingling. As Dahlin winds his way in, Rasmus Dahlin shoots, it goes off a leg. Raymond tries to drop that back for Dahlin. In for Holmberg, and Pontus Holmberg spins that back for Raymond, for Dahlin. That pass partly blocked by Bedard. And Zellweger back with it. Raymond feeds that back. Dahlin miscues that pass, it flies into the corner. Now brought up by Holmberg, his pass broken up by Alexiuk. And brought out by Gunther. Rink wide for Bedard. Hacked away by Brodin. Demon Severson back to pick it up. First year with the Columbus Blue Jackets. 10th NHL season for Demon Severson. And now Cousins goes after it. Dylan Cousins added into his glittering international resume for Canada. As Kempe works in and shoots, but into the same rebound on the high slot. Knocked down the ice by Mangiapane. That'll be icing against Team Canada.
You mentioned Cousins, a great tournament he's having. 8 goals, still leads the tournament. And he was the guy that Canada trusted when they had to score the shootout to go last. Didn't quite work out for him, but...
So you talk about, the records. Cousins 0 for 3 in his career in NHL shootout.
Right.
They went with the 2 D-men who have pretty good track records.
0 for 3 is not a very big sample, but it is what you have to work with.
Here's Karlsson back with it. Erik Karlsson, a long shot, bounces wide right to Marcus Johansson. Gives it back to Victor Hedman. Here's Johansson. Plays it back across to Karlsson. Shoots, that was blocked in front. Another chance. Eriksson Ek turned away by Bennington. Another shot. That taken by Hedman. Bennington to stop on that. And now Bunting back at center ice with it. Michael Bunting winds into the Swedish zone. Bunting takes a shot, and Gustafsson knocks that away. Miller Eriksson Ek slides that back to Erik Karlsson. The three-time Norris Trophy winners, the NHL's top defenseman. Now playing for Pittsburgh. He's at Lundestrom. Plays it back down to the Canadian zone. Bouncer puck on the side of the goal. Kicked ahead by Paul. And Nick Paul's away with Jared McCann. Here comes McCann who banks that down. And Bedard back with it. Inside 9 to go in a scoreless first period.
This looks like they're double shifting Bedard. They can play almost 5 forward lines.
Power at the line, slides that down to Bedard. Crossing goes to Pareko, back to Bedard, winds and shoots. That's blocked by Pettersson. In comes Paul, splits the Swedish D, slides it across, and that pass bounced away from McCann, who was knocked down by Heed. And Marcus Pettersson back to pick it up.
A couple more hard strides from Paul. He might have almost been in alone. Made his mind up to pass right away.
Back to get it to Zellweger. Olin Zellweger banks it back around. And Grundstrom feeds that back to Brodin. Linus Johansson around the throat. Back at the point. Dahlin with a shot tipped a couple of times in front. Chance for Grundstrom, scores! Carl Grundstrom snaps it home, and the Swedes have a 1-0 lead.
Tidy finish in tight by Carl Grundstrom. A little drop pass from Johansson gets him there. The way Canada plays their own end, they want to pressure 2 on the puck. Problem is, if you can make a quick play out of that pressure, it's a 2-on-1 down on the net, and it becomes exactly that. Dahlin throws it down, and Johansson and Grundstrom against Zellweger, not a lot he can do. Binnington having a hard time following the puck, and Grundstrom throws it up under the bar to open the scoring. That sort of 2-on-1 pressure has worked really well for Canada. Very rarely have they been beat back to the front of the net. There's a case where 2 guys got caught too high. Zellweger was all by himself.
Grundstrom was drafted by Toronto, traded to LA in the Jake Muzzin deal. Bain plays it down. He just had a hard time getting traction in the league. 8 goals in 50 games this year. He's had some injury problems in recent years. Playing his 3rd World Championship for the Swedes. Played a couple World Juniors as well. That's knocked dead by Severson to Mercer. Canada falls behind again. And they trailed the Swiss 2-0 in that semifinal game.
And then dominated for 40 minutes, just couldn't score enough goals. They
were down to Great Britain in the round robin. They trailed Finland 2-0.
Yeah. Slow starts, strong finishes have been more their norm.
Great Britain relegated along with Poland this year. The 2 promoted teams got sent right back down, and the 2 teams that relegated 2 years ago are coming right back up. That pass missed for Pettersson. It's over the glass and out. 6:42 to go here in the opening period. Sweden a 1-0 lead.
Tino brings you the official makeup look. We give you a taste. Try this also in a virtual mirror. You can witness the passion, the skill, and the legendary looks. What a great smile, be it lipstick or your cheering face. Choose your colors as you like. And now it's time to step into our virtual mirror at Latino. Hello! And here. Hello! It's you in a stripes. You in the toilet street. What a good dog! Step into our virtual mirror at Latino and find your look yourself. Latino, beauty that scores. But man, don't worry, Latina also brings products for you. Hello, Latina, the beauty of hockey.
Back here in Prague, we mentioned that Great Britain and Poland relegated this year. Hungary and Slovenia will return to the top division next year when Sweden co-hosts with Herning, Denmark. It'll be Stockholm and Herning, the host cities next year. The year after that, it is Zurich and Freiburg, Switzerland. and Düsseldorf and Mannheim, Germany. And then just announced the other day, Paris and Lyon in France. Hello.
Attendance way up.
Here's Carlson, winds and shoots. Bington blocks that away, and Power tries to flip that in. He's batted ahead by Cousins. They'll call that a hand pass at center ice, even though he began in the defensive zone.
That's one like Michael Bunting would have realized he could have touched it before the blue line. Take a look at Brunstrom's goal. Alexiak and Tavares get caught, and Zellweger chasing, almost gets a piece of the puck. The rolling puck is caught cleanly, elevated fast, and a fourth line strikes for Sweden. And Sweden really has reset today. Yesterday's game went poorly. They changed their lines. They pulled their goalie. Their deep pairs were all over the map. They went right back to the lines they used all tournament for this game.
Here comes Hedman. Feeds that back in front. Knocked down by Hagel. The Power up for Parayko, who jumps up for Canada. And Colton Parayko, also named one of Canada's top 3 players in the tournament. Bumps that back. Picked out though by Holmberg. Sends it back in front and just missed that pass for Burakovsky. Now Hedman a drive that was blocked in front by Parayko. Burakovsky back for Carlson. Hedman walks in and shoots. Binnington the save. Rebound to the side of the goal. And Hedman putters it into the glove of Jordan Binnington. 5:47 to go here in the first period of the bronze medal game in Prague. To go here in the opening period. Sweden leading Canada 1-0 in the bronze medal game. The other news, not officially announced here, but being discussed here, the IOC will meet this June to discuss, or in July rather, to discuss the host cities for the upcoming Olympics in 2030 and 34. And France and the United States have reached an agreement. The French will host in 2030, Winter Games, and the U.S. will host in 2034. So it'll be Nice, France, for the opening and closing ceremony, the hockey and figure skating competitions. The skiing will be up in Mirabel, and 2034, Salt Lake City, USA. Paul in, shoots, put that wide. So pack your bikini for the Winter Olympics in Nice.
There's an NHL tie-in there, though, because part of the Utah bid is thought to be the arena that the eventual Utah, we'll call them hockey club, is going to play in.
Although there's some discussion whether or not there'll be a renovation of the current rink or a new building. It's not decided yet, but
I imagine if they would have got 2030, it helps that decision. Just let's go to the new rink in 4 years.
Edmund, long lead pass for Olofsson. Byram stays with him. The two Buffalo teammates collide behind the goal. Olofsson drops that back to Hedman. Crossing goes to He. That shot was blocked by Tanev. Almost off the races, Bedard. That lead pass just out of his reach. As Hedman comes back, we got a first penalty being called. It's against the Swedes, a hooking call. A tripping call, rather, will send Canada to the power play with 4:31 to go here in the period.
Tim Heed has his shot blocked by who else? Brandon Tanev, of course. And Tanev is trying to get the puck to throw it up to Bedard, who leaked out. He gets tripped up by Tim Heed. Now that would have been a tough race for Bedard to win with the rangy Victor Hedman closing on him. The check from about 9 feet away.
Canada 7 for 32 on the power play. A 22% clip. And the Swedes have yet to allow one. There's Paul. Works that back for Tavares. Drops it back. Cousins the shot. Leads Team Canada in the tournament with 4 power play goals. Time to Kevin Fiala for the power play lead. Cousins drops that back to Power. Throws it ahead. Kempe knocks it down. Adrian Kempe plays it back down to the Canadian zone. 18 for 18 on the penalty kill in their first 9 games. Bedard threw that rink wide. It was swept away by Holmberg. First of all, only short-handed, an average of twice per game.
Not to mention mixed in 4 shorty-handed goals.
Right. Here comes Bedard. Puts it across to Paul. Walks right in. Paul with a rolling puck. It trickles back down on the shot by Cousins. And now Paul back after it. Back to Power. Owen Power in for Bedard. Has a look and shoots and just missed short side. First time we've seen Bedard shoot.
You're right. He hasn't. He's got that great release. We know it so well, the drag and pull. He has been much more a facilitator, especially with a man advantage.
8 points in 9 games, though, for Bedard at the age of 18. Bunting works in. Ahead for Gunther, who chopped at that. Picked up by Pedersen. At the line, Dubois kept it alive for McCann. Jared McCann pokes at that. And Lundestrom sends it back down to the Canadian zone. Here's Byram back with it. Drops it off to Dubois. Here Luc Dubois winds in, drops it back for McCann. To Dubois. Dubois centers it. Gunther just missed on that. 25 seconds to go on the Canadian power play. Gunther with it. And McCann across the line, but the play's offside at the Swedish line. 14 seconds to go on the penalty to Tim Heed.
So it's always a big commitment. Tavares family coming over to Europe for the players. Last week they've been joined, a lot of them, by their parents, their friends, their siblings, their spouses, some kids running around. And part of this experience is not just on the ice, but maybe sharing some cultural experiences with your family. Yeah. And boy, there's been a lot of nice culture to absorb the last couple weeks here in Prague.
This is a spectacular place for those who haven't been, as Brodin moves in. And when they say the heart of Europe, they're not kidding. It's about a 4-hour train ride to Berlin, Munich, Vienna, Bratislava, not much further away. And just staying here isn't so bad. Here's Pareko with it. Edmund up ahead for Raymond, and racing to that is Jamie Alexiak. Out to center ice, Burakovsky knocked that down. Burakovsky be another guy who probably came here looking to wash the taste of a bad year out of his mouth. He's been injured the last 2 years. A series of injuries this year kept him out. Last year was groin surgery. That's picked up by Mangiapane. Looks rink wide for Severson, who had jumped up. And now it'll be between the legs action by Byram there to keep Penn alive.
Well, why not? And you'd say it probably worked for Burakovsky. He's got 10 points, tied for the team leading points.
He's been a very productive player in the NHL, a 2-time Stanley Cup champion with Washington and Colorado.
He plays well with good players. Plays well on good teams.
Which is a skill.
Yes.
Severson plays that back. And looks at for McBain, who chips it back down to the Swedish zone. As Gustin lost the puck for a moment. Poked free by Tanev. Tanev plays it back for McBain. And Dahlin clutching his face. We're going to crease violation against Tanev. That stops play. Dahlin is limping back to the Swedish bench. Oh, yeah. There by McCann.
And Dawson Mercer in the corner here. And the right stick come right up into his chin. Absolutely, that's one that is got to be called. Though Dahlin is hitting Mercer, taking his legs out. You got to control your stick. He did not. Luckily, no real damage. The last thing you want in this game,
right,
is a trip to the dentist.
How about a 3-year progression for Dahlin? 13 goals, 15 goals, 20 goals. Back at the point. Pareko is shot, kicked out by Gustafsson. First overall pick in the 2018 draft. He was the World Junior Defenseman of the tournament in that World Junior in Buffalo. Power back with it. Another first overall to Buffalo. Feeds it back to Gunther with a shot, knocked down by Grundstrom. Chips it back to center ice, picked up there by McCann. And McCann winds in, shoots, and ramps off the stick of Brodin. Lundestrom chips that to Zetterlund. And Fabian Zetterlund up for Lundestrom, drops that back to Pedersen. That shot drifts wide. Picked up by McCann. And Jared McCann, rink wide, and goes to Pareko. Here's Power with it. Out to Tavares. And John Tavares spins back. Up ahead for Dubois. Chips it back down to the Swedish zone with time winding down. Tavares goes after Carlson. Olofsson pivots back in the corner. Knocked down by Tavares, but it skips over to Carlson. To the line, he'll bank it. Alexei takes a shot on the horn. But the Swedes will go to the dressing room with a 1-0 lead after the opening 20 minutes.
Probably a predictable start for both teams. A little cautious, a little fatigued. Now that they're invested in the game, now that they've gone through 20 minutes, I expect both to ramp up the intensity and physicality going forward. Canada should be better in the second and third.
It's the final day of competition of the 2024 World Hockey Championship in Prague.
Fulfilling their bronze and medal dream, but 2 more periods to go, and we know what Team Canada is capable of. So we will see. There is a wonderful intermission program ready for you. So you can take your seats, or you can stretch your legs. Just up to you. If you have this time, check out these statistics of this period.
on, boys, we're good. In the crease. You're standing there. I give you 2 seconds. That's the rule. Okay.
When I saw this video for the first time on Friday being there, I thought that it's so far away to be in Sweden and Denmark, but now it's closer than we can imagine. That will be the 2025 IIHF World Championship. And we need to solve two puzzles. Who will be the defending bronze medalist and who will be the defending IHF World Champion? There are two games being played in Prague, and it will be in front of the best fans from all around the globe. Once again, thank you for supporting this tournament that is already unforgettable. And now, back to our game. Team Sweden is facing Team Canada, and these are the highlights of the first period. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Team Sweden! And it's time to welcome back on the ice, Team Canada!
Back for the second period here in Prague. Philip Gustafsson faced just 4 Canadian shots in that opening period. After a disappointing semifinal loss yesterday, and Jordan Bennington busier in the Canadian goal out, 1 goal on 7 shots, a 30-year-old from Richmond Hill, Ontario.
It's been an interesting tournament for Bennington. He came into the tournament as the best goalie in the NHL from Canada this past season. He was better than anyone else. As the presumptive potential starter for next year's Four Nations, and while he hasn't lost a game.
We're good there. Kate, stick down first and set. Down, set.
Sean McFarland of the United States gets things underway.
He's just kind of pedestrian, though, in this tournament, even though he hasn't lost.
Jonas Brodin chips out ahead, moved out by Froden, and picked up by Grundstrom, the Swedish goal scorer. Tangles there with Severson. And Linus Johansson moved that towards the goal. It slides down to Bennington, who hangs on to that. Canadian management staff is here. Olympic GM Doug Armstrong. Ryan Getzlaf. Getzlaf has joined the staff as kind of an advisory role, but they'll take up more of a role next year at the World Championship. Rick Nash is the GM of this Canadian team.
I mean, I think you get these well-known, current, recently retired players as like a player recruitment liaison.
Right.
You know, when they make a call, maybe it means more coming from Ryan Getzlaf, a prominent recent player, than it does Kyle Dubas or whoever it might be, right?
Dubas also a member of this management staff. It's worth noting that next year in Herning. If you're on the bubble for the Olympic team, it'll be probably suggested that you should play. As Tavares picks it up. That is pocket pick by Raymond, but slides the puck back to center ice. Bill Guerin, the USA Olympic GM, made it very clear part of this World Championship that if you want to play in the Olympics or the Four Nations, you should expect to go to the World Championship. Hagel works it and shoots, and a good kick save there by Gustafsson. Dubois back with it. Pierre-Luc Dubois slides that down to Tavares, walks it back out, a hard shot there by Power, a good save by Gustafsson. Brought back by Burakovsky, rink wide to Lucas Raymond, and Raymond shoots. Binnington the stop on that. He'll hang on after two good Canadian scoring chances.
Hagel has been all around it, hasn't quite found it, gets this one right in the slot, tries to go quickly to his forehand and release it. Gustafsson, a good save there, and the Power chance is exactly like the Grunson chance. What's the difference? One puck's right under the bar, one puck is 6 inches off the ice, and Power couldn't quite elevate for what would have been his second goal of the tournament.
Later tonight, it's Czechia against Switzerland for the gold medal. Tickets on the resale market right now are about 2,500 Czech crowns, which would be 700 Canadian dollars.
That's really expensive in this market.
As
we've learned after a couple of weeks here, things are not as expensive here. To spend $700 on a hockey game would be outrageous. That's the demand.
McCann knocks out ahead. Kempe knocks it back. Brought it by Johansson. It's about 12,000 Czech crowns for a ticket on the resale market. Here's Heed with it, back across to Pedersen. Shoots, that goes high. Also today, Sparta Prague, the soccer version, is closing out the Czech League season. They've won the championship, so there's a huge crowd going there this afternoon. They're all going to head down to the town square and watch the game on the big screen. Estimated that a quarter of the people in this country watched Czechia's quarterfinal win over the United States.
You'd have to assume that number would go up a little bit for the semifinal and then up even more, a lot for the final.
I don't know if the ratings measurement services measure people in parks, squares. Bunting backhands that wide of the goal. Zellweger jumps up. Olin Zellweger pivots back in the corner. Drops that back to Cousins. And around comes Dylan Cousins, shoots. Got some same rebound, poked on goal by Mangiapane. Sent back in front with a chance. Cousins scores! Dylan Cousins is tournament leading 9. Ties the game at 1.
You can only give Cousins so many looks with that wrister. Eventually he will beat the goalie. We've learned that in this tournament. Here's the first one. Gustin spits it back out, and Alexiak, I don't know if he's trying to find Cousins or just dump it in front, but that's a nice drag, pull, and release. Let's see the defenseman activating, looking for rebounds, and what a rip. Another one. Pretty tidy pass from Alexiak. Through Heat skates past Olofsson, and Gustafsson guessing the wrong way. Dylan Cousins makes him pay to even things up.
20 games played for Canada, 2 World Championships. Dylan Cousins has scored 16 times. Don't forget he led the World Junior Championship in goal scoring in 2021 as well. And now picked free by McBain, trying to poke that back in front. McBain, a shot that rolls wide. Back to Severson. Right of White Horse, Yukon, Dylan Cousins. Got some company. Gavin McKenna was terrific for Canada at the under 18 tournament. He's from Yukon as well. Or the Yukon if you prefer. There's a raging debate about that, which I'm not going to get involved in. McBain drops that back, and the sharp angle shot taken by Severson is stopped by Gustafsson.
Already been a better start to the second period as we thought it might be. Canada with 4 shots in the first, 4 shots not even 4 minutes into the second period, and Dylan Cousins with a couple in a row. Oh, that pass. Gustin, he's guessing glove. Look at that left hand start to move first. He thinks Cousins, who scored many goals over the glove in this tournament, is going back to that spot, and he goes the other way and fools Gustafsson.
By the way, a bit of housekeeping with Switzerland and Czechia playing for the gold of the World Championship. Mangiapane picks that out. It'll end a 9-tournament streak at the top divisions for the IHF of Canada, the United States, or both being in the gold medal game. Canada and the United States have won the last 9 top-level IHF tournaments. Women's and men's under 18, World Junior Championship, men's and women's World Championship. They won all 5 last year, the first 4 this year.
The rest of the world won't want to hear that. Hang on, we got to fix that.
The Swiss and Czechs will put it into that tonight.
Tonight is going to be something special. Either way, no matter how the game turns out.
And off the draw, Mangiapane is shot. And Gustafsson the save on that. Thousands of Swiss fans have streamed in here to Prague. There are already a bunch here already as Bunting comes in and shoots. Gustafsson save, and on the rebound, Cousins couldn't cash on that. And back at the line is Owen Power to pick it up. Shots 5-1 Canada here in the second period. Pedersen, long pass on the tape of Eriksson Ek, moves in a backhand shot, stopped by Binnington. A great pass by Heed up to Joel Eriksson Ek. Edmund with it. In comes Burakovsky, drops it back for Raymond. Feeds it back to Heed, up and shoots, and Binnington makes the glove save through the screen of Burakovsky.
There's some stuff still to play for individually. Dylan Cousins looking for his 10th. There's an all-tournament team recognition that would be available, perhaps, for Dylan Cousins if he keeps this going. Canada's able to win a medal in this game. The votes for that have to be in after the first period, before the second period of the final.
Before the start of the second period of the gold medal game, your votes have to be in. We're both voting on that.
Yes.
I've missed that deadline before. That's kind of embarrassing. In comes Raymond with it. Lucas Raymond chops it back in front. Binnington save. Raymond sent flying as Dubois picks up the loose puck and moves it ahead to Hagel. Up for Zellweger. Olin Zellweger threads it ahead for Pierre-Luc Dubois. And Dubois risks it back down to the Swedish zone. Hedman. Burakovsky. Chips it ahead to Pontus Holmberg moving in. Hagel's on him. Holmberg drops that back to Raymond. Rink wide for Dahlin. He cubed that wide. Rasmus Dahlin. Holmberg who centered it. Picked off by his Toronto teammate, John Tavares. Again, 22 players in this game are facing an NHL teammate.
Although we've seen over the course of this tournament, that hasn't stopped things from getting physical or intense between teammates. The guys go at each other.
Froden chips that back down to the Canadian zone. Bowen Byram's back to pick it up. Gunther. Up for Paul. Paul, a gold medalist for Canada in 2021 in Latvia when he scored the golden goal for Canada. Tip back to Byram. And the 4 gold medals in the last 9 years of the World Championship as Paul works it back in. And now in the corner, Gunther fell, and as great as Canada and the U.S. have been of late in World Championship events, it's been a down time for the Finns. Second straight year, no medals in the men's top 3 competitions. First time it's ever happened to them since the World Under-18 Championship began in 1999.
Well, they're turning over at the men's level.
Yeah.
Turning their team over from some young, older players that have stopped playing for the national team to a lot of younger guys.
Now Byram pitches that ahead. And Carlson throws that ahead. It's knocked down. Brought back in by Lundestrom with a shot. And Binnington got just a piece of that to knock it away. Things opening up here a bit in the second period as Byram skates back for it. Plays it back around for Mercer. Knocked down by Carlson. And brought up by McBain. Up ahead to Dawson Mercer. Chip set by Carlson. And Lundestrom back to pick it up. And Erik Karlsson with a head of steam. In on Parayko. Shoots. It's off the stick of Parayko. Up and out of play. 12:48 to go here in the second.
And now it's time to vote Striker Man of the Game. You can take part in the voting athlete of the IHF app that is powered by Dakota. In case you still don't have the app, you can download it and scan this giant QR code. In the app powered by Dakota, you'll receive all the information connected to the tournament. But now, it's time to vote Skoda Fan of the Game. Two candidates, only one will be victorious. Hello, Sweden! Hello, Canada! And our leaders will be winning 2 against 1. That's a tough goal for Sweden. 3 away. And featured is out. That's wild. And I think it's obvious. Victorious is Team Canada. Shut up, thank you for your emotions. Thank you for coming to champion. You're amazing.
1-1 the score here in the second period, the bronze medal game of the World Hockey Championship in Prague.
Game's picking up as we thought it would. Yeah, a bit of a slow burn, but it'll continue to grow as the game goes along. This far, halfway through the game, might as well go home with a medal.
Tavares digging for that. Bounce it to Parayko, and Colton Parayko of the St. Louis Blues brings it out. Parayko drops it across to Dubois. Pierre-Luc Dubois holds off Erik Karlsson, plays that back in deep. Now Hagel tries to kick at it. Picked up by Tavares. John Tavares being tied up there by Hedman.
It's like an octopus wrapped around the back of Tavares.
And Parayko waits for teammate to get back onside. The play is onside, but knocked down by Karlsson. Poked ahead by Dubois, and Karlsson skates away from Pierre-Luc Dubois, who gave him a little tug on the arm. And Joel Eriksson Ek plays that ahead, knocked down by Power. Back around to Zellweger. Olin Zellweger winds his way in. Zellweger brings it back around, Bunting on it. And move back to center ice. Scoop back up by Mangiapane for Alexiak, and the play's offside at the Swedish blue line.
Both being a good chance. There's this little alley-oop play. Erik Karlsson hits Lundestrom driving, and he goes back against the grain. He's trying to flip this up slowly, allow Binnington to push to his right, and have the puck just trickle over his left shoulder. That Sukian-like chip almost pulled it off. Good skate off the puck from Lundestrom. Good to see him healthy. Took a nasty elbow from Jan Rutta in yesterday's game, of which Jan Rutta has been suspended for, which is a massive blow for Czechia.
And also defenseman Jakub Pejcik is questionable for the game after taking a puck in the face and a bunch of stitches.
They could be down 2 of their top 4 defensemen. That would be tough.
Now Dahlin feeds that down, bouncing puck goes down to Zellweger. Nolan Zellweger brings it out. CHL Defenseman of the Year last year, now playing in the Men's World Championship. Memorial Cup is underway in Saginaw, Michigan. Major Junior Championship. As Burakovsky has it knocked away by Bedard. In comes Connor Bedard, the IHF Player of the Year last year, the Male Player of the Year. And voting for that takes place next week. And I think we're both voters on that too, aren't we?
I think I received an email, let me know. To be on the lookout.
Severson in for Bedard. Long lead pass, bounce off the stick of Raymond. Lucas Raymond back on it. Move back around Lundestrom. Down to Severson. Up ahead to Cousins. And Dylan Cousins pokes out ahead for Bunting. In comes Michael Bunting. Has to chip that back for Cousins. Now Byram has to retreat with Olofsson bearing in on him. Olofsson drops it off to Lundestrom. Shoots! He fired that wide. Back at the point, Pettersson plays it back in. Power gets in the way. And Lundestrom steps into him. Lundestrom part of a group of young Swedish prospects for Anaheim. A bushel of them. as Cousins winds his way ahead with Mangiapane. Drop for Mangiapane, shoot! And Gustafsson got a piece of that. Carlson up into Olofsson as Parayko has to retreat. Lundestrom moves back in. Feeds it down to Olofsson. Pass midway point of the second period. Olofsson. Back to Erik Karlsson, whips it across to Hedman. Long shot, hit a leg in front, then it's Zetterlund. Now Power back on it. Owen Power up for Mangiapane. He finds McBain moving in. McBain sends it back in front. Oh, Justin got that.
Barely.
Kicked away, and now Karlsson back the other way with Zetterlund. And Grundstrom, a long shot goes high. At the point, kept alive, but skipped over the stick of Linus Johansson. And now Hedman back with it. So patient. Up to center ice. And scooped up by Jonas Brodin. A world junior and world champion for the Swedes. Remember the last Swedish team to win the World Junior Championship back in 2012. But the Swedes have had so much success in the preliminary round and just haven't made it convert in the playoff round. 4 silver, 2 bronze since 2012. Now behind the plate, Dahlin was taken down. We got a holding call against Canada.
And now it's dance time, and we do really have the best dancers in the house today. Please welcome Mr. Ball. And now it's time for another one. Please welcome Paul. Best dancers in the world, Paul and Mumbai.
Canada 80, 2 minutes for holding.
So Pierre-Luc Dubois gets a holding call, and the Swedes go to the power play with 8:23 to go in the second period.
Dahlin got tangled up with Dubois, and Dahlin tried to give him the cold shoulder. Dubois kind of grabbed on and pulled him down. Dahlin heads right back out on the power play. He plays almost as a forward, though. You see him line up on the inner hash mark. He's more of one of the 4 forwards out here.
Swedes 8 for 34 in the power play. Eriksson, Karlsson, and Burakovsky have 2 power play goals each. Here's Hedman back across. Kempe with a shot that goes off the foot of Jamie Alexiak up and out of play. We saw Caden Gooley block a shot for Canada yesterday. He's not playing today in the bronze medal game.
So here, Dahlin looks to hit Dubois. Now, you and I argue about whether that's interference or not. And then Dubois, as he braces himself, gets a little bit of a hand on the hip. I think it's more the momentum of the hit that knocked Dahlin down, but call is made, Sweden to the power play.
We don't argue about it so much.
We discuss.
There are those who would suggest that if you hit someone who doesn't have the puck, it's interference, even if you do have it.
See, but those of us would also counter with, if I have the puck, I can go anywhere I want. I don't have to worry about running into you. It's my puck. Get out of my way then. That's the rub of our conversation.
Yeah, that pretty much sums up the conversation over dinner, breakfast, on planes, cabs, hotel lobbies.
That's right.
Yeah, we're a barrel of fun to be around. Here's Raymond with it. That's knocked away by Parayko. And Raymond took it away from Colton Parayko. Lucas Raymond feeds it back to Hedman. Hedman back around for Dahlin. Being shouted there by McBain. And McBain poked it out, worked it free. Tanev was almost loose. Now Gustafsson ahead for Kempe. Brought in by Eriksson. Walks in, a little back pass, and Hedman lifted that wide. Here's Dahlin back with it for Kempe. Dahlin back to Kempe, shoots, that deflected just wide. And the puck skips off the stick of Hagel back down the ice. 45 seconds to go in the Swedish power play. Bounce back down the Canadian zone. There's icing on the power play by the Swedes.
Kempe saw Canada get caught once on a quick up on a change. Gustafson snaps it up, Kempe to the middle, and there Taneka was a quick 3-on-1 that is blocked at the last minute by Pareko. So Kempe thinks, well, I'll do it again, fire it up there while Canada's trying to change. It's up with an icing, but that's where the thought comes from.
Out to center ice, knocked down by Mercer, and now Burakovsky back with it. Andre Burakovsky, born in Austria, raised in Sweden. As Erik Karlsson winds in. Throws that wide to Zetterlund. Fabian Zetterlund. Moves that back to Olofsson, who's been a power play specialist for Buffalo since he got there. Played back to Karlsson. Feeds it down to Zetterlund. Back to Olofsson to Zetterlund. Final seconds now, the power play, Olofsson. To Zetterlund, back to Olofsson, across to Karlsson. And Karlsson shoots with the leg of Severson as Dubois steps back on. Severson going to chip that to Byram. Now behind the goal, Burakovsky centered it for Zetterlund, picked up by Dubois. And Bowen Byram skates ahead with it. Byram with Dubois. Chipped across for Dubois. And Pierre-Luc Dubois back with it at the line, held there by Cousins. Canada gets fresh legs on the ice. Cousins back for Dubois. Feeds it across to Zellweger. Zellweger shoots, that was blocked. And Marcus Johansson looks ahead for Burakovsky. Takes that lead pass in on Zellweger. Now knocked down for Dubois. Byram. Lead pass finds Mangiapane. In comes Mangiapane. Stops. Backhand shot just missed.
He slammed on the brakes.
That's tough to do.
That was so impressive.
Mangiapane now for Bunting moving in for Cousins. Cousins shoots. That's off the stick of Pettersson and high. And the crowd's still buzzing about that. So are you.
The patience. One thing to be able to stop, but then just to hang there for a minute.
In comes Raymond with it now. Lucas Raymond jumps in. Drops that back to Holmberg. Back around to Lundestrom for Heed. And a battle in front. Zellweger and Raymond are going after. Bunting. Up ahead for Paul. Chips that to Gunther. Dylan Gunther works in. Knocked away by Heed. Holmberg back for Heed. Inside 5 to go here. In the second period, Paul and Lundestrom are into it now. As it's chipped back down to the Canadian zone, Alexiak back. Canada with 6 defensemen dressed this game as opposed to the usual 7 on an IHF roster. Some European countries go 12 and 8.
Czechs will be down to 5. If they have 2 guys who don't play. One suspended, 1 injured.
Alexiak. Radko Gudas is going to play 40 minutes tonight. As that sharp angle shot taken by Gunther, he stopped by Gustafson.
Dear hockey friends, now we have the perfect time to show that every one of us truly have the heart of the game. It's now you. Nice. What about you? Hey ladies, show us your heart of the game. Good job. Holky, požádám taky poslat nějaké posledníčko. Milujeme hokej. Hey, Srlige. Thank you for your love.
Yes. 4:17 to go here in the second period. The bronze medal game between Canada and Sweden. 4 of the last 6 meetings between these two have gone past regulation, including the quarterfinal game 2 years ago won by Canada. That was a wild one. The Canadians were down 3-0 in that game. Came back to tie. Drake Batherson scored the overtime winner. Canada went on to the semifinals on the gold medal game as Bedard comes in and shoots off the side of the goal. Canada lost the gold medal game to Finland in overtime that year. A bouncing puck scooped down by Pareko. Kempe back with it. Got it by Tavares, who swatted at that. Now Kempe shoots, and Tavares blocked it. Long point shot taken there by Brodin. It goes up and out.
So this chance by Andrew Mangiapane, unbelievable stop. The stretch pass from Byram right on point. Now, it's one thing to stop it up and try to let the goalie go, but wait, gather, and then he just sailed it. He had the entire, he did exactly what he wanted. Waited, got the puck where he could elevate it, and elevated it too much. What a crafty play from Mangiapane. Not everything but the finish.
Burakovsky with it. Sends that rink wide to Dahlin. That was played back in offside, so the Swedes have to tag back up. Shots 10-8 Canada here in the second. As Cousins comes in, he has the equalizing goal. Looks down to Mangiapane. This line of Mangiapane, Bunting, and Cousins has been very productive for Canada. And those guys will see each other in NHL games and at face-offs, going to nod to each other during the warm-up. They'll have a conversation.
One of the best parts about this tournament, getting to know people around the league that you don't play with, what you can learn from coaches, other players, but then just sort of the bonds you can create, new friends.
In comes Froden across the line. Maybe play a different role, too. Bunting up ahead to McBain. Rink wide, he goes for Severson jumping in. Damon Severson finds a lane, bouncing puck. It's knocked away, and now Grundstrom ahead to Linus Johansson. Crunched there by Tanev. And Johansson is down.
No penalty, just grabbing at his shoulder, which is why they blew it.
Linus Johansson got erased along the boards by Brandon Tanev.
So this is how speed can be used to angle and finish, and absolutely nothing wrong with that. Johansson drops low, try to tuck underneath, and Tanev finishes him cleanly, fairly knocks him over, and Johansson takes the worst of that one. A lot of blow on the front of that blow on his right shoulder. Hopefully he'll be okay. But when 13's on the ice for Canada, you know if he can catch you, he will hit you with everything he has. He's not just gonna rub you out and angle you off. He's gonna finish with all that he has.
Face-off not done fairly. 2:23 to go here in the second period.
Tell you what, the foot rule makes face-offs really hard to execute for the linesmen. Guys sometimes kick them, sometimes they hit their feet, and they blow them, do they not?
Alexiak with it. Chips it ahead as Heat goes back, being watched there by Tanev. Heat peeled back. And the pass misfired for Zetterlund. Back is Zellweger to pick it up. The two Zeds collide behind the goal. Picked up by McBain. He's got to wait for Tanev to get back on side. Brandon Tanev's brother Chris, a winner last night with the Dallas Stars, gained 2 against Edmonton. Chris is a gold medalist with Canada at the 2016 World Championship in Russia. Long shot drifts wide. Here's Olofsson back with it. And Zellweger back with it. Shipped ahead by McCann. Canada changing. McCann walks in, fans with that shot, and the follow through it. Brodin in the face. And they're going to blow this dead. Not on a penalty, but against the follow through of a shot that hit Brodin.
Now the question is, he's trying to shoot this puck. He doesn't actually shoot it. The fan's on it. He gets him right up at the chin, which would sting, but there's no sign anywhere that this would be a penalty. Almost up by the throat, which could be scary for sure. And he'll be frustrated he missed that good opportunity. Sam, who is got a heavy release. 40 goals a couple years ago. Back to this past year, which would be tied for the team lead with John Tavares. Another puck that get anywhere near the ground or the ice. It was dropped.
Here's Paul back on it. Nick Paul. Winds through the offensive zone. Taken back by Carlson. Power knocked that down to the Swedish blue line. Now Gunther comes back for it. And Paul fires it back down. A minute to go in the second period.
1 minute left in the second period.
Parayko moves back. Parayko. Better spin that down for McCann. And here's Nick Paul. Back in the corner, Paul. Holds off Carlson. Power. Back across to Parayko. Well, Johansson had that knocked away, picked up by Parayko again. Pettersson lays it back around to Carlson, and Erik Karlsson has a look ahead. Pass to Eriksson Ek. Out to center ice, picked up by Nick Paul. Trying to chip that head for Hagel. And as the lean goes back, he's being shadowed there by Hagel. Time winding down. Rodin back out there. That pass is picked up by Severson, dying second to the period. And Tavares gets a shot away that goes wide, and Canada and Sweden will go to the dressing room tied at 1. After 40 minutes of the bronze medal game, Dylan Cousins scores the tying goal. His tournament leading ninth.
Canada was better in the second than they were in the first. They'll look to be better in the third than they were in the second. If they are, they got a great chance heading home with a medal.
It's the 2024 World Hockey Championship from Prague. Our second admission is coming up.
Team Sweden and Team Canada, 30 shots in total and a very interesting second period. We have an intermission program ready for you, but before that, let's check out the key statistics of our second period.
I wouldn't settle down, man. It's not fun. I had to get it over quick and I would try. Perfect calm down.
So happy you can download it and scan this giant QR code. In the app, Colorado Strut app, you'll receive all the information connected to the tournament. But now, it's
Hey, nice shot, man. That was beautiful, that shot. Right there, boys, we're good there. Okay, stick down first and set. Down, set. Crease, crease, no crease. Easy, boys.
will never forget the 2024 IIHF Hall of Fame.
Sista skiten nu boys!
Ja, nu kör vi boys. Hela vägen in här nu. Ja. Hela vägen in här nu boys. Ja, kom igen.
Poäng above!
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to welcome back the nice Team Sweden! And your round of applause for Team Canada!
Jordan Bennington allowed 1 goal on 16 shots in the Canadian goal. At the end of the ice, it has been Philip Gustafsson. He has faced 14 Canadian shots, allowed 1 goal. So here they go in the third period, tied at 1 for the last 6 between these two. Have gone to extra time, including the last medal round meeting. That was the quarterfinal 2 years ago today. Canada has lost 4 straight bronze medal games at the World Championship.
Good one. Get some guys.
Severson has that pass go off his skate. Incredibly, the Swedes, who won back-to-back gold medals in 2017 and 2018, hadn't been back to the semifinals until this year. Holmberg up for Burakovsky. With 1 power play each way, neither team has scored on it. And the buzz is building here and outside for the gold medal game tonight between Switzerland and Czechia. And McBain, a big hit there. Straightened up Brodin, who took a stick in the face in the second period, and now that body shot from McBain. Carlson spins it back across to Pettersson. Erik Karlsson threads that pass, head chopped down at center ice by Hagel. Looks ahead to Tavares, a long shot, and that's steered away by Gustafsson. Karlsson back around to Pettersson. And Marcus Pettersson. Rink wide pass, finds Lundestrom. Isak Lundestrom. Got it there by Power. Rick free by Kempe, plays it back. Karlsson shoots, he pounded that wide. And Hagel, a good pass ahead for Dubois. In comes Pierre-Luc Dubois, trying to feed that back across. The pass was blocked by Karlsson. And Dubois back on it. Tavares won that battle for the puck. Slides it across to Hagel. He finds Power. And Owen Power is tied up there by Pedersen. Chips it back for Tavares. Dubois parked in front. Here's Hagel with it. Hagel along wrist shot, got through, Gustafsson save. And he'll freeze the loose puck as Dubois was digging for it.
Almost a quick break to start the third period for Canada. Dubois off to the races. Trying to get it going with John Tavares. Carl Grundstrom, the goal scorer for Sweden.
Cousins for the face-off against Eriksson Ek, wins it cleanly back to Mangiapane with a great scoring chance in the second period. Lead pass to Fabian Zetterlund. Angles there with Zellweger. Zellweger sent flying in the corner. And now Alexiuk back with it. At the point, here's Hedman, a shot, it got through. Binnington save, rebound, Grundstrom, another shot. And Binnington corrals the rebound on that. As Zetterlund was looking for the loose puck, Grundstrom as well.
Also trying to find a rebound from the point shot. Bunting doesn't get it out through traffic. Good save by Binnington. He tries to poke it out of the traffic, but actually ends up poking it back to Grundstrom. For this one, he doesn't elevate the same way he did on his goal. Binnington to get down and take it away.
Parayko across to Power. That lead pass for Gunther missed. And now Paul back with it. Nick Paul walks in, shoots, and Gustafsson makes the save on that. So Gustafsson was a gold medalist for the Swedes in 2018. Did not play in that tournament. He was the third goaltender.
And you wonder how much of this bit of an audition for him for a future national team.
We said, you got to think Markstrom and Omar got to have the inside track to this Omar.
Pick up Markstrom. There's one more guy who's got to be on the team, though.
Right.
He probably wanted to be a young guy.
Burakovsky with it. Justin had a down year this year for Minnesota, but was great the year before. He had a .931 save percentage for the Wild. Paul chips that back in front for Gunther. Lifts it ahead, it goes off the skate of McCann. Canada juggling 14 forwards in this game, 6 defensemen dressed. That's necessitated by the injury to Caden Gooley, who blocked a shot in the semifinal yesterday. He's not playing today. Lead pass up for McBain, moves it in, shoots, rebound, fires, and Gustafsson knocked the rebound away. Picked up by Bedard. Tanev comes in, Brandon Tanev with a steal. And Brandon Tanev spins and throws that towards the goal. Raymond takes it away for Sweden. Lucas Raymond chips it ahead for Lundestrom. For Kempe, walks it in, shoots, it's off the foot of Parayko. And now Carlson, the captain, chips it across to Pedersen. That pass off back at center ice. Binnington back around to Alexiuk. That pass almost picked up by Kempe. And Parayko spins back. Lead pass for Bedard. Brodin on him, and Bedard goes after it. Parayko won that battle for the puck and skipped away from Tavares. Bedard heads off on a change. Grundstrom, the Swedish goal scorer, winds through center ice. Moves around Dubois, his LA teammate. And now Grundstrom back at the point to Brodin with a shot that goes wide. Dahlin's jumped up now for Sweden, plays that back to Holmberg. Cross he goes, Brodin a shot, pad save by Binnington. Grundstrom trying to work that loose. Zetterlund back in front, Holmberg kicked away by Binnington. And now Dahlin tees it up, that was blocked in front by Parayko. And moved up by Tavares. Snaps that pass rink wide to Hagel. Hagel feeds it back to Dubois, chance scores! Pierre-Luc Dubois on the feed from Hagel. And Canada's grabbed a 2-1 lead.
His top line gets it done again. Really nice patience by Brandon Hagel to wait and wait. Power's going to get some attention, and Fabian Zetterlund just falls asleep. 49 in the middle of the ice, has to pick up this lane. He's too deep, covering nobody, and Dubois able to get down to a knee, get it up in the air, and snap it off the shoulder and in. Team Canada their first lead. The longer you make guys think, make decisions defensively, the more likely it is that they might make a wrong one. Zetterlund got caught puck watching.
Dubois, a tournament all-star a couple of years ago for Canada. Now brought back out right in front. That's knocked away from Burakovsky. Burakovsky tees it up and shoots, and Binnington got a piece of that. Back they come again. Hedman has a look. Feeds it back down. That's tipped wide by Burakovsky. Cousins to the line, but not out. Knocked down by Marcus Johansson. Back in the corner to Joel Eriksson off the side of the goal, loose in front. And Severson plays that down the ice. Evan and Carlson go back, and that'll be icing against the Canadians as the two Swedes with 4 Norris trophies between them decided who will go back for that puck.
A chance here. I think he gets it right up the head.
Oh, that's the mask.
Burakovsky gets it up under the bar. Can't believe he didn't pull that to the corner. Just in the middle of the net enough for Binnington to fight it off with his mask.
When you talk to guys who have played in a bronze medal game, they talk about the stages of it. And you begin with still recovering from the loss the day before. Now you're in a game. Way better to win it than to lose it. Way better. Problem is you don't really know that until later.
Yeah, you don't appreciate that, as I know firsthand, until probably the next year. What were we doing? Not fully invested.
Lindstrom moves ahead. That's poked away. Center ice, Pettersson moves that ahead. Paul almost got to that. Now Rangers back to pick it up. Zellweger lifts that back down to the Swedish zone. 5 gone here in the third period. Eriksson moves it across the line. Shoots. That's knocked wide. Alexiev plays it back around. Marcus Pettersson. Had that knocked away by Gunther, but it's picked up by Olofsson. Moves in and shoots, and a glove save made by Binnington.
Saved by Binnington, bailing out some defensive zone breakdowns, trying to protect the lead generated. So it's a 4-on-3. A little pick on the back end and a dive by Dahlin on the way back. But it ends up being an easy seam to pick out for Hagel. An over back check by Zetterlund and a nice finish by Dubois. And you're LA, you're watching this, hoping Dubois can build off of this, another World Championship into next year for the Kings.
Canada, by the way, 15 different goal scorers in this tournament. These two teams, the two highest scoring teams through yesterday's play. They were the two teams that had lost prior to yesterday.
The two teams that were favored to be playing for gold tonight.
Yeah.
Prior to yesterday.
Away comes Tanev, chips that back down, and away comes Brandon Tanev after it. Knocked away from Dahlin, down to Mercer. Tossing Mercer across to McBain. He was crunched there by Eriksson. Olofsson lifts that back ahead for Froden. Froden lays that back around, down to Olofsson. Owen Power on it, tries to chip that ahead. Now a chance for Froden, that was blocked by Mercer. The puck moved back down to the Swedish zone. Carlson goes back as Mercer bears in on him. Burakovsky lost the puck to Mercer for a moment. Now knocked down by Hagel, who flips it back down to the Swedish zone as Gustafsson leaves it there for Johansson. Holmberg drops that back to Erik Karlsson, the Swedish captain. Looks it for Burakovsky over his head. Byram goes back. The Canadians said that should have been icing.
Burakovsky might have got a piece of his glove on the attempted grab.
Dubois tangles there with Burakovsky, picked up by Johansson, plays that back to Brodin. Back around to Holmberg. He's tied up there by Severson. A penalty coming to Canada. As Severson touches up. Holmberg down, and the Swedes down 1. We'll go to the power play in a moment.
And now it's time for cheers with Pilsner Urquell. On the giant squeeze, saw 2 glasses of Pilsner Urquell. In your toss will be to cheer with them. Well, if you didn't know how to cheer properly with Pilsner Urquell, there is the instruction made by Peter.
Ladies and gentlemen, and proud, we love hockey, and no matter what team are you cheering for, together with Christina. And now it's time to choose. Or in Sweden, you can say skål.
Okay, and now it's up to you. We're searching for volunteer. And in the case you will cheer, then you will get the prizes from Pilsner Orwell. All right, where are the volunteers? Come on, it's you, ladies. Time to cheer. Okay, you're the winners, and you will receive 2 beverages and 2 full fingers in the main tent of Pilsner Orwell in the official time zone. Congratulations!
Canada, 78, minor penalty, ice sticking.
Damon Severson called for eye sticking. 12:56 to go here in the second period. The Swedes, or third period rather, the Swedes will be on the power play.
Severson trying to get an active stick on Holmberg, but he gets a wrap right around his chin. So, an obvious call despite the protests of Canada. And big kill for Canada here.
Face off not done barely as we got Raymond, Eriksson, Kempe the forwards, Hedman on defense, and Dahlin sort of. Off the draw, one by Cousins. Hagel gets to it. And Brandon Hagel up for Cousins, who's got 2 short-handed goals in the tournament.
Almost had a third in overtime to end the game in the semis. Breakaway that was stopped.
That's how close Canada came to going to the gold medal game tonight. In comes Kempe, drops it back for Dahlin. And Dahlin drops that back for Hedman. Hedman rink wide for Kempe. Adrian Kempe feeds that down to Eriksson, back for Kempe. Raymond to the high slot. Kempe taken down there by Alexiak. Here's Eriksson back with it. To Kempe, back at the point to Hedman. Kempe, that pass broken up by Hagel, but didn't go out. Hagel's laboring somewhat. Here's Dahlin. That's blocked by Cousins. Pokes at that. Moved down in the corner to Raymond. And now Kempe back on it. To the point to Hedman. Chip back in the corner. Pareko races to it on Raymond. And now the pass goes back to Hedman. Across he goes to Dahlin, being watched there by Cousins. Feeds that down to Raymond. 50 seconds to go in the Swedish power play. Dahlin, a shot! And Binnington knocked that away. Now Raymond for Eriksson. Poke check there by Cousins. Raymond banks that back to Dahlin. Feeds it back down to Raymond. Raymond sends a rink wide. It skips off the foot of Eriksson. Inside 30 to go in the Swedish power play. Hedman back for Dahlin. Feeds it back across to Eriksson. That skipped away from him. These Canadian penalty killers still stuck out there. Hedman shoots. Binnington save, and Hagel sends it down the ice. And that was a minute and a half or minute 40 of penalty killing by that Canadian group. It finally gets off. 5 seconds to go on the power play. In comes Erik Karlsson for Johansson. Bouncing puck. Karlsson couldn't get a shot away. Out of the box comes Severson. And Tavares has it back with Bedard. Lead pass to Connor Bedard. And Brodin stays with him as Gustafsson knocked that away. One shot for the Swedes on that power play. As Brodin sends it back down to the Canadian zone. Johansson feeds it back around to Burakovsky. To Karlsson, a shot, scores! Erik Karlsson with a bullet for the point, and the game is tied at 2.
Captain with his 6th goal of the tournament. And he leans on this with everything he has. Good job by Sweden on the puck support. Connor Bedard trapped down low. Seam passes given up. It's just one-on-one. There's no screen. Binnington's there and just got to get high enough. Oh, man. 6 inches off the ice to get it above the stick blade of Binnington and right through the 5-hole.
Does anyone get pucks through better than Erik Karlsson?
Him and Brent Burns have done it the last 20 years. Just sifting, driving, floating, whatever it takes. And Erik Karlsson evens things up.
1 point behind Roman Josi for the defense point lead of this World Championship. Karlsson first onto the scene in 09 as the top defenseman at the 09 World Junior Championship in Ottawa. where the upcoming World Junior will be playing. Now a steal by Severson, but the play's offside at the Swedish blue line.
Sweden battling back. Look at the kick on that stick. I mean, he gets all of it. Sometimes the hard passes got a little bobble in them. They don't catch him quite flush. And Erik Karlsson got all of that one and then some. He's had an interesting career, Erik Karlsson. I mean, he's done some things that put him up there with the all-time great offensive defenseman in the game.
This season 2 years ago was one of the greatest by a defenseman in history. Raymond works in. That's knocked down by Zellweger. Up for McBain. And the center ice Marcus Johansson had his stick knocked out of his hands. He's calling for a penalty. Mercer back after it. McBain comes in, picked up by Dawson Mercer. Mercer feeds that back to Alexiak. And Jamie Alexiak sends it back in front. That's knocked away by Brodin. Raymond streaking ahead. Kempe tried to poke the puck to him and couldn't reach it. And Alexiak takes it back. He looks rink wide. That pass picked off by Dahlin. Up ahead for Zetterlund in shoots. That goes just wide. Eriksson Ek. Back at the point to Hedman. Victor Hedman tees it up and shoots. That's off the foot of Alexiak. Up and out of play, and Victor Hedman leaned into that. 9:10 to go in the third period. Canada and Sweden tied at 2.
Today's attendance for the bronze medal game between Sweden and Canada is 14,929. Thank you so much for your support. Amazing number. Thank you.
Canada meeting in a bronze medal game for the first time since 1999. The Swedes won that one 3-2. Canada's last bronze medal game win was in 1995. The Canadians have lost 4 straight since then.
That was one of those 4.
99, 2000, 2006, and 2018.
Time to break the streak, I guess. On the business end of it now, 9 minutes. Right there for either team to take.
Holmberg with it. By the way, if they're tied to regulation, it'll be 10 minutes of 3-on-3 overtime. And then, if necessary, a shootout. Dubois.
Hagel was gone.
Oh,
he just fanned on the pass.
And now Grunstrom will open the scoring, winds in, feeds it back in front. Holmberg a chance. Binnington the save and the rebound chance by Throden turned away as well.
Chance at one end goes awry. And a quick counter drive. Franco gets caught in between a pinch. Power comes over to cover. No one's got Holmberg headed to the net. And Jordan Binnington covers that one up. A really good chance for Sweden to retake the lead. Jordan Binnington would really like to get this over the finish line. Get a win, get a medal, be the difference in a big moment for Canada.
In comes Karlsson. Erik Karlsson winds in, throws it back. Wonders from a shot, pad saved by Binnington. And the Swedes applying the pressure now as Cousins bats that to center ice. In comes Raymond with it. Lucas Raymond winds in and Power takes that away. Up ahead to Parayko to Cousins. And Cousins flips that back down to the Swedish zone. Karlsson dropped it down and threw to the side of the goal for a moment. And Mangiapane couldn't quite reach it. Lundestrom with it. By the way, if they're tied tonight in the gold medal game, they play overtime until there's a winner. Lundestrom dives towards the goal, and that's kicked away by Bennington. Lundestrom back to Hedman. Crossing goes to Pettersson, a shot. That's tipped just wide. Hedman fires again, bouncing puck in front. Bennington made the first stop. The rebound cleared by Bunting for Cousins. And away comes Cousins, 1-on-3, and Lundestrom knocked that away. Pettersson spins away from Bunting. Up ahead to Eriksson Ek. Poked back and no one there for Canada. Brought ahead by Zetterlund. As Severson tried to knock that away. Gunther tried to kick that free for Canada. And now scooped up by Severson. Around he goes to Parayko. Parayko looks like they went off a skate. Bounces back to center ice to Gunther. Chips it ahead. In comes McCann. Jared McCann trying to slide that back in front for Paul. That was broken up by Pettersson. McCann back with it for Gunther. To the point he goes. Alexiak got a shot. Hit a leg in front. And Zetterlund has it back for the Swedes as he brings it back to center. Lines that back down to the Canadian zone. 7 to go here in a tied third period. Still to come tonight. Switzerland and Czechia for the gold medal. In front of an enthusiastic throng here in Prague, to say the least.
And an all-time understatement. As you see some of these point shots, so much being generated. Lundestrom off a face-off play. And he tries to go one in the world, almost splits. For a highlight reel kind of goal. All this, I don't know if the last stick of Raymond got a piece there, but you see how close so many players and pieces of equipment are touching the puck, which would make it a very difficult save.
Carlson had to poke that away from Hagel, who was rushing on. Now Parayko holds the line for Canada. Colton Parayko, that long reach, swings that down to Dubois. Lines there with Carlson. Dubois still on it. Kicks it free. Tried to center it. Carlson takes it back. Up ahead for Kempe. And Holmberg goes across to Dahlin. Lifts that to center for Kempe, just out of his reach. And Binnington played that away. Grundstrom shoots, scores! Binnington cleared it to Grundstrom, and he fired it home to give the Swedes a 3-2 lead. And that's 2 for Carl Grundstrom in this game.
Innocent looking play. Puck is cleared out, goes down to Binnington. So he's just gonna play to the boards to Parayko. Overshoots it by a bit, and I don't know if he screened or if that's a knuckler, but Grundstrom just one-times this. And what didn't hit anything. Parayko tries to get out of the way. Just drifts short side above the shoulder of Binnington. He's looking at Parayko like maybe I couldn't see it, but that's one you really gotta save. Grundstrom gives Sweden the lead again.
Playing his 3rd straight World Championship for the Swedes. Now Power goes back to Zellweger for Bedard. 6 to go here in the 3rd period. Power works in. Owen Power lines that back to Zellweger. Zellweger being watched there by Johansson, plays it back down. Pettersson picks it off. Up comes Power to keep it alive, but Lundestrom played it by him as Zellweger retreats with Johansson bearing in on him. Owen Zellweger plays it back across for Power to Zellweger. Eriksson Ek up for Burakovsky. Eriksson Ek chops that back around. Burakovsky lost the puck to Bunting. Lead pass from Mangiapane. They'll call it icing as Brodin got there first. And the face-off back down to the Canadian zone with 5:14 to go in the 3rd.
Sweden has been pushing all 3rd period. They got the tying goal, and now they got the go-ahead goal. And I think Binnington's reaction tells you all that, yeah, definitely knuckling. That curved a bit to the left. But Binnington misplayed the puck to Parayko. Also didn't see the shot. Between he flustered by the whole situation.
Grundstrom chips it back around. And Mangiapane racing to it. Throws that rink wide. Knocked up by Zellweger, but that's deflected. There'll be no icing as Carlson goes back. And Cousins works for the loose puck. Cousins feeds that down to Bunting. Looks around for Mangiapane. Inside 5 to go now in the third. Hedman. Rink wide pass to Grundstrom. In comes Carl Grundstrom again. Throws it ahead for Holmberg. And behind the goal, Mangiapane tapped it down, but it's picked off by Holmberg. Pontus Holmberg. Battles there with Severson. Severson won that battle for the puck and plays it across to Byram. Tipped ahead for Mangiapane. And now scooped up by McCann. Jared McCann. Had the first pass blocked and drops it back to Severson. Up to Paul. Nick Paul for Byram. Slides that back down to the Swedish zone as Pettersson goes back. Johansson. High in the air and it's bounced back in front of Parayko. Plays that back around inside 4 to go now in the third period. Canada had the late equalizer. As Gunther moves out ahead. Drop back and that misfires. Against the Swiss. As Power now winds in. Owen Power shoots. That's blocked by Deline. And Zetterlund back on it. Flips that back to center ice. Eriksson Ek long shoot and that goes wide. And Zetterlund back with it. Power trying to work that free. It's knocked loose for Parayko. And Parayko brings it back out. Parayko shovels out ahead. It's batted down by Brodin. Canada changing as Holmberg slides it back down to the Canadian zone. And here is Owen Power with it. Lead pass for Tavares. Bounces down to Carlson. And Carlson brings that around. It was Carlson who tied the game here in the third period. After Pierre-Luc Dubois gave Canada the lead. 2:45 to go in the face-off back down to the Swedish zone.
Turning it up to the side when to get the goalie out. And there you see the Olympic management group. Armstrong in the press box watching Ryan Getzlaff. John Tavares, #1 in the tournament in face-offs. Over 70% going up against Toronto teammates.
Pontus Holmberg and Tavares wins that back to Zellweger. Olin Zellweger. That pass goes off the stick of Kempe. It bounced right back to Zellweger. No one could see it. And Zellweger's shot deflects down to Hagel. Plays that back around for Dubois. And Pierre-Luc Dubois kicks that free. Back around to Hagel. Hagel with it. Works that free, Hagel. Slides it back for Tavares with a shot. Off Dubois and wide. Bennington remains in the Canadian goal. That's picked up by Holmberg. Up ahead to Grundstrom, who lays it back down to the Canadian zone. Zellweger goes back, and that won't be icing.
2 minutes left.
Zellweger, as Canada gets fresh legs on the ice. It'll be Cousins, Bunting, and Mangiapane, the forward line for Canada. In comes Dylan Cousins, the tournament goal-scoring leader, shoots and just missed high. Bunting steps up. Bennington inching out to the Canadian bench. Back at the point is Byram. Holds it and sends it back in. On comes Paul as the extra skater for Canada. The net's empty for Victor Hedman. Hedman has a look, lifts it ahead, and the bouncing puck goes back to Byram. 2 Swedes chase him. Byram moves it ahead for Mangiapane. Kept at the line by Byram. Owen Byram has a look back across. Bunting a shot. Gustafson down. Loose puck. And dig away for it. And it bounced away from Cousins. Parayko plays that back to Byram. Byram to Bunting. A one-time shot bounced in front. And Binnington kicked that away. Hedman over the head of Bunting and back to center ice. And now Parayko goes off. On comes Power. Lead pass for Bunting. Johansson had his stick knocked out of his hands. Bunting plays it back around for Byram, moves to the side of the goal, Gustafson down, and Gustafson hangs on to that. And a mad scrum ensues to the right of the Swedish goaltender.
Really good chances coming off the stick of Michael Bunting, teeing up one-timers. This one, he gets it up, get in the top half of the net. Oh, what a good save by Gustafson, just not quite high enough for Bunting. Rebounds there, they're banging around. Second one comes in, this one is tipped. by Victor Hedman, and Gustin is fortunate to get a pad on that. So now with 55 seconds left, obviously a timeout coming up for Canada.
And Jay Woodcroft, assistant coach, will drop the play on the Canadian bench.
The good news is you have the face-off in the offensive zone on the left side of the ice. That's John Tavares' strong side. You can really try to draw up something offensively. Ready if you don't win it, but also ready if you do, because you can create something off of one draw.
And Bedard will be out there for this as well.
You got to be aware of who's tracking it down if you don't win, where we're going if we do win, and don't want to be shy about getting pucks to the front of the net. So how dangerous it can be, even bunting, getting them down there.
It was Tavares with 2:07 to go against the Swiss, who tied it up in the semifinal yesterday. Tavares, Paul, Dubois, and Bedard, the forwards. Power and Cousins on the back end of this as Bedard feeds it back to Cousins, a shot, and Gustafsson made the save. Kempe on his backhand to the line, but not out, kept alive by Cousins. Bedard reaches for it. Eriksson Ek lifts it high in the air and back down to the Canadian zone as Cousins is back to pick it up. Cousins peels away, winds through center ice, knocked off stride by Kempe, feeds it ahead for Tavares. Flips that back down to the Swedish zone, Hedman's on it, and he squeezed that by Tavares and back down the ice as Power goes back to pick it up and the Swedes change. Power up ahead to Dubois. Now Dubois trying to knock it down. The puck's loose in the corner, finally went over the glass and out with 13 seconds to go. Another face-off in the Swedish zone coming up.
They got the win we were talking about, got it back to Cousins, and don't waste any time. Puts it right down, and it is tipped by Power. High slot tip. Very dangerous. And Gustafsson has to fight that off with a position save.
Off the draw, it's scramble, poke free for Brodin. Jonas Brodin's got some time, banks it ahead for Marcus Johansson, and Johansson for the empty net scores! And with 4.6 seconds left, the Swedes will secure a bronze medal at the World Championship. Their first medal since 2018 when they won the second of back-to-back goals.
Johansson capped a pretty nice tournament for him.
Yeah.
12 points with 6 goals. And a one draw by Tavares. Good puck support, smart play by Brodin not to ice it. And the game's over at this point, whether he puts it in or not. That's a good win. I mean, Sweden pushed in the third period, put up 16 shots on Canada trying to get back to tie, and then kept pushing for the lead, and were able to do both.
And so Canada's record in bronze medal games continues. 5 straight losses over the last quarter century. Their last bronze medal game win was in 1995, and the Swedes win it by a final score of 4-2. They were the heavy favorites entering the final weekend, but they salvage a disastrous semifinal loss with a win over Canada, and Canada finishes fourth.
See a hug for Johansson there, who was out in street clothes after hurting his shoulder earlier in their game.
Yeah, it was Linus Johansson who got injured, so. And now we'll get the presentations of the bronze medals, the bronze medal trophy to the Swedes, who will be one of the co-hosts next year, along with Denmark. The tournament will be held in Herning, Denmark, and Stockholm.
And it's amazing, you know, you win your last game, you feel somewhat validated in the decision to come and play in the tournament. The time and energy. And see Johansson with this, looks like a sling on his right arm.
And he got crunched by Brandon Tanev along the boards.
So they'll have to get the podium out for the medal presentations. Player of the games.
Yeah. Also honor the officials who worked in this game. By the way, we'll see a Canadian referee in the next game, in the gold medal game. They haven't made a chance to work that since Canada had been in the gold medal game 7 of the last 8 years. The IHF had talked about and had sort of toyed with and sampled having officials from competing countries work in games. They started with linesmen. You know, from, say, in today's game, you might have had a Canadian and a Swedish linesman.
Right.
But that's been moved away from the last, we haven't seen it in the last couple of years.
Tricky, because let's say the Swede was the highest rated official. You want him in the gold medal game, but let's say the next highest rated was Swiss. Canada would feel we want one of our guys as well. So it might not be necessarily getting the best, but either way, good win for Sweden, battled hard. And their Olympic and Four Nations team defense will look a lot like the team defense they put in this tournament.
You look at Hedman, Carlson, Dahlin, Brodin.
There's four, for sure. They have Marcus Pettersson as well. That Coleman likely be there.
Each team will be awarded with a watch by Tissot, the official timekeeper of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey Pro Championship. The awards will be presented by 2024 IIHF Hall of Fame inductee Kenny Jonsson and the Vice President of Marketing of Tissot, the official sponsor of 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey Pro Championship, Matt George. Best player of Team Canada, number 24, Jamie Oleksiak.
Oleksiak battled hard all tournament long. You've seen him block shots with his ankles in his last game. You're just making sure that he'll be okay for the summer.
And the next stop for the Oleksiak family this summer, Penny at the Paris Olympics. Qualified for the swimming competition just months after knee surgery.
Really rooting for her to bring home a medal.
Canada's most decorated Olympian.
Sweden, number 91, Carl Grundström.
And Carl Grundström with a pair of goals for the Swedes. The opener and the go-ahead goal in the third.
Fourth line winger, unlikely offensive hero.
Gets the award from Kenny Jonsson, inducted earlier today into the IHF Hall of Fame. He joins his brother Jorgen in the IHF Hall.
The commemorative awards for the on-ice officials of the bronze medal game will be now presented.
And now the on-ice officials will be honored.
IHF Council
Miko
member
Kakakori and
co-chair.
Sean
The
McFarland, the referees.
2024
Daniel Hinek and Yuri Ondracek are the linesmen. It's a big honor to be selected for this. Now, because the NHL players are going to the Olympics in 2026, we'll almost certainly see NHL officials there, but there'll also be some IHF officials there.
And the officials, like the teams, they get graded. The best officials get to work the medal games.
Yeah.
There's some nationality consideration as well.
And now the presentation after this of the bronze medals to Team Sweden.
The bronze medals will be presented by the member of the board of Skoda Auto, Mr. Martin Jan, the IIHF Vice President for Europe, Mr. Henrik Bach-Nielsen, and the IIHF Vice President for the Americas, Bob Nicholson, and also the President of the Swedish Ice Hockey Association, Mr. Anders Larsson.
So a four-way presentation of the medals. On the left, Henrik Bach-Nielsen will be in charge of the Herning Denmark portion of the World Championship next year.
Championship bronze medal goes to Team Sweden!
And the Swedes will come forward now and get their medals. Led by Erik Karlsson.
He's like, am I supposed to go now? Apparently.
He'll be followed by his good friend, Victor Hedman. They have been so close for so long. They were deep partners at the World Junior Championship in '09. Hedman played that tournament with one shoulder. He was hurt in the pre-tournament, but he was tremendous.
And the big part of the reason why they're both here is because they're both here.
Right.
It was a package deal. They talked to each other and wanted to play together again.
When you think about the great Swedes who won the Olympics in '06, that golden generation of Lidström and Forsberg and Sundin and Alfredsson, the entire group, how great they were. This generation wants that chance.
They've got the high-end players, especially on defense, to be a threat in best on best. They were the best team in the round robin in Group B by a mile. were
You
upset.
know, these teams are in the same hotel. They were around in the lobby this morning. We're in the hallway together, getting ready to go out.
Half of them are,
Well,
literally half of them are teammates with each
22 of them
other.
play together in the NHL. One of the best parts of international hockey is you play your heart out trying to win. And when it's over, you shake the other guy's hand, wish him well, and hope to play again.
We'll see you in the fall at training camp.
Yeah.
Burakovsky, teammates with Tanev. And that's tough for Linus Johansson. Last game of the year to be injured his shoulder. There he is.
Talking to Tanev.
There he is saying he's sorry for the injury. Nothing dirty at all about the hit.
One thing about hockey players is they compete like crazy. For the most part, they have great respect for each other. Tremendous respect across the two blue lines.
By the IIHF Council member and the co-chair of the 2024 IIHF Ice Hockey World Championship, Mr. Heikki Hietanen. Fans, please welcome the captain of Team Sweden to accept.
And now the third place trophy will go to Erik Karlsson.
Ladies and gentlemen, Erik Karlsson.
Had a pretty big tournament leading Sweden to a medal finish.
And now we'll get the Swedish national anthem, Val Old, Val Free.
Now, we invite you to please stand if you're able to do for the national anthem of Team Sweden. Ladies and gentlemen, 9 consecutive top 4 finish for Team Canada at the IHF Ice Hockey World Championship. Thank you so much, Team Canada. Thank you so much to all of you.
It's maybe sort of the journey, and then I'll probably touch on the goaltending. Wasn't quite
up to snuff. You can take the whole, I won't ask. I won't ask 2 questions. So. Is that? Thank you. There we go. Thank you. Okay. Both these teams are coming off difficult losses, their first losses of this World Championship. So the bronze medal game already tough to play, but it was hard for Canada to reel it back in.
It was, and in many ways we've been spoiled with Canada being so successful as of late in this tournament. You can do a lot of right things, play really hard, and still not find a way to win a gold or even a medal. We talk about the difficulty in getting ready emotionally and mentally invested in the game. I thought they did a good job against Sweden. They played hard, they got the lead in the third period, but in the end, I think what set Canada back in this tournament was, unfortunately, their goaltending maybe not quite good enough for Jordan Binnington. Binnington had a fantastic year in the NHL, really one of the top 7-8 goalies in the whole NHL. And he came here to prove the point that he could play internationally for Canada, likely as a starter in the next big international tournaments when it's best on best, because he is Canada's best. And he would tell you that he didn't love his performance the entire tournament long. Unfortunately, in the bronze medal game. Gave up, certainly the game-winning goal that he did not really enjoy. So Canada played hard. They represent themselves well. A lot of players had individually good tournaments, but just couldn't quite defend and keep pucks out of their net when they needed it, in large part because of the goaltending to really win a medal in this tournament.
Two ways to look at it. Canada top 4 for 9 straight years at the World Championship. The other is the bronze medal jinx continues. Canada last won a bronze medal in 1995. Since then, 5 consecutive losses in bronze medal games.
Pierre, you made this a 2-1 hockey game in the third. What stood out to you about Sweden's push late in this game?
They played fast, and we talked about forechecking their D, not giving them time and space. We didn't do a good enough job of that, and that's unfortunate.
I know you wanted to leave Prague with a gold medal. How much is this one stinging right now?
The real tough one was last night. Obviously, you want to win the last game and win bronze, but the real one was the semifinal. That's the one that stings the most.
Trying to see the positives is tough to do right now, but as you look back on your time with Prague and these guys that all came together, is there a memory that will stand out to you?
Yeah, I mean, every time you come here, you meet unbelievable people. Some new, some that you've met before. I had a great time with these guys. To lose in a shootout in the semifinal sucks. You're that close. We felt like we could have won that game, and to be so close to the final today hurts. But like I said, you meet unbelievable people that you have friendships for life.
Thank you, Pierre.
Thank you.
Two big goals for you today, and you've got a bronze medal draped around your neck. How good does that feel?
It feels really good. Always nice to finish off the season here with a win, so it's a great feeling.
What will you remember the most fondly about this tournament?
How fun we had it with the group, and obviously that we won the last game here, even if we didn't make it to the finals that we wanted, but it's always good to finish off with a win here.
And I know Sweden is co-hosting the World Championship next year. Winning a bronze medal at this tournament, how does that raise the bar as you look to continue to grow hockey in your country?
Hopefully it does. It's always the goal is always to win this tournament. It's been a couple of years now, so hopefully we can win it next year.
Trailing 2-1 in the third, you make a leg push. What did you like about that final burst of energy your country showed tonight?
Det kändes jättebra. Jag tycker vi kommer ut och spelar riktigt stabilt i tredje och gör det vi ska, så att, det var väldigt skönt.
Thank you, congratulations.
Thank you.
Andre, I know tonight was not the result you wanted. How would you assess Canada's performance in this game?
Well, I think it's was a little bit tough for us to get going. I think we played rock solid in the second period. I think we had a good start in the third. I didn't like the way we react when we took the lead. I think we backed off a little bit instead to keep putting pressure and keep getting on them, which was our A game. And from there, I think we were not as good as we should have been.
You talked about how this tournament can be a learning experience. As a coach, what did you learn at this tournament?
A lot of stuff. I think discipline is a huge factor. I think there's a lot of stuff I already knew, but I think it reinforces your value, what you know. I think we, like I said, first period against Swiss or the first period tonight, I don't think we came up as aggressive as we should have been, and what made our success early in the tournament. So I think we'll learn a lot from that. And there's a lot of stuff happen behind the closed door with coaches and management where you learn from those people. So I think our player worked really hard. Their commitment was unbelievable. I think I have a lot of time for all the guys in that room. I think it's a lot of sacrifice to come all that way and to play 10 games and end up with the result we had.
I know how many years you've been a part of the coaching staff, and you've talked about pride being a huge factor. When you look back at this tournament and some of the positives, what stands out in your mind?
Well, I think the way that our guys work, I think that the commitment they had, I think they come along during the tournament. I think we, early in the tournament, we how can I say, maybe now our emotionally got a little bit of time for us to get going, and then we bound, and the guys were really tight. It was a really tight group who fought for each other, a lot of sacrifice. So I'm really proud of the way they bound together.
Andre, thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay.